A shout from the cemetery. There was a cemetery behind our village, near the birch grove. But when they moved the bus stop, everyone screamed at once. We had to walk through the birch grove, but on the border of the cemetery. Grandmothers immediately started to write tears in all instances. But the bosses, few on us, on all, told us that they didn't like it and that we were going to take the bus off. And without the bus, it's a total loss. A lot of people work in the city, so we have to get home somehow. Anyway, we yelled and yelled, nobody paid any attention, so we gave it up. But that's just a fairy tale. The fairy tale is yet to come. In the winter, the firm I worked for was shut down. It was either the state or bandits. But they gave us severance pay and said they didn't need our services anymore. The allowance is not bad, but it is not rubber. I paid the utilities, and then the money ran out. What to do? Again stood on the exchange. And the exchange, is like an elbow, close, but it's a problem to buy. Once a week you have to go there. And so, what do you think? And in the morning passed by the cemetery, remembered relatives, that they're rested. And on the way back, it was already dark, it was winter outside. I was driving with our deputy from the village. She says to me, you, Vasilievich, don't run too much, because it's creepy to walk by the cemetery at night. I wanted to remind her how she advocated moving the bus stop, but I didn't. We went out, passed through small birch tree and started to walk across River Nilishka with help of bridges. What a parable! We heard a child's voice from the cemetery. People, help! Believe me, the hair on my head began to move. Fears creep into my head. And it's dark. We stand and do not know what to dare. A little voice begging, help me, I'm cold. And Nina Petrovna's hat was lifting on her head, and she told me quietly, stammering, it is Milka Zavorotnaya's girl. She was buried on the third day. She died of whooping cough in the hospital. Milka, the shameful drunk, buried her in a blanket. What was her name? Oh yes, Lisa. She's the one whining. What shall we do? I ask her. Let's get out of harm's way. And if the child is there, on the graves, who started it and left it, it'll freeze to death by morning. The frost has already jumped over 10. No, I don't go there. She clutched at my hand with a dead grip. Not that I have much determination, but how to imagine that the child for reasons unknown to me at night appeared in the cemetery, cries for help, and I'm here, trampled on the spot. So I turn towards the cemetery. And Nina waits on his arm, hissing only, where are you going? Help, help, it's very cold, and it's scary, my voice is tearing up. Oh go go go, he shouted to give himself confidence. Uncle, help me, dear. Came out in reply. And Nina and I went quickly, climbed over the fence at one point and moved. I remembered all the prayers, and rearranged them, this part and that part. Well, show that we are all ready. And Nina clung to me with a dead grip, she only howled. Can you believe? I looked at her, so I almost cackled with fear. My hat was torn off my head, and her hair, alas, not short, stood on end. With a broom. As I saw her, I even sat down. And she saw my body movements and how she screamed. Believe it or not, for a little bit did not get dirty. I said to her, why the hell are you, inappropriately remembered will be, so yelling? Why are you scaring me? You look at yourself, if anyone sees you now, so on the spot to shit. Here.
What's wrong with me? And her hand on her hair, and she howls again. I shook her, and said, stop shouting, there are people lying here, and they are lying quietly. And you'll stir them up with your shouting. They'll come out to see the troublemaker, and then you and I will be sick. So I calmed them down, and then I shouted, where are you, girl? Answer me. Where can I find you? Oh, mister, I don't know, it's dark here and so frightening, I heard from somewhere on the right. I turned to the voice, Antonina only whines. Past a whole alley, no one. Again I called. Again on the voice oriented. Passed to the new graves. Well, on the new, adjoined cemetery. And the head of ours immediately dug them 12.5, that each time the excavator is not begging. This is the part where she screams. Antonina calmed down, because Lisa Zavorotnova was buried in another place. I shout and ask, "Where are you, girl?" "Here," she says. "We were playing here, and then I fell somewhere, and now I can't get out." Clearly in one of the new graves. They began to look over them one by one, empty. And looked around, came up, I lit a match, empty, and on to the next one. The moon, according to my calculations, should be full, but lo and behold, it was hidden behind the clouds, and it was dark. That's how we got to the last grave. The edges were covered with snow. We almost fell into it. A child's voice flew from it. We lay down on the edge. There were no matches to shine. He scribbled everything. "Give me your hand," I said, but it was too deep. But my hands were put there and they picked up something woolen. They started pulling it heavy, and then the moon came out of the clouds. Believe it or not, we almost ended up in the hole ourselves. It turned out that we were pulling an old goat, but it was so scary. I can't even tell you about it. Eyes in the moonlight glowed red. From such a vision we pulled her so that we threw her out of the pit. And that's when Antonina screamed. And then we were flying and screaming together. We got as far as the settlement. Near a kiosk we stopped and Antonina took a bottle of vodka and we drank it right from the neck. Only at home, when I was telling all this to Masha, she told me, "You fool, you simpleton, didn't it seem strange to you that a child said he was playing in a cemetery?" It may have seemed, but we only have the kindness inherent in it. The child cries. How not to ask him what happened to him? Maybe you need help. Russian that's all comes from it. We can't do it any other way. We don't know how.